Good afternoon. On behalf of the family, I want to welcome you here today for the celebration of the life of Lavon Swink. I knew her as mom. Just about everywhere I went, she would introduce me as her son-in-law. And she thought that was hilariously funny. What she meant to say, and she said this often, God never let me have boys because I knew I would spoil them. I think that makes Paul and I her favorites. Mom was known to keep a lot of meaningful tidbits she found. Here's one I thought would be appropriate for today. Life is a stopping place, a pause in what is to be, a resting place along the road to sweet eternity. We all have different journeys, different paths along the way. We all were meant to learn something, but never meant to stay. Our destination is a place far greater than we know. For some, the journey is quicker. For some, the journey is slow. And when the journey finally ends, we'll claim a great reward and find an everlasting peace together with the Lord. Would you join me in prayer, please? Father, I want to thank you for this day of celebration and remembrance of Lavon's life. I pray, God, that you just fill this place, our hearts, and this very being with your presence and your peace. We thank you today for this celebration as we remember Lavon in many special ways. Thank you for everything. And God, we thank you for your blessings in thy name. Amen.
Mom was a great storyteller. She had wonderful ability to tell stories like nothing you can imagine. So today I felt it was really fitting that we sing of the greatest story that she loves to tell. I love to tell the story of Jesus and his love. Let's all stand together and sing.
Jesus sightings of her incredible beginning. I am Lavon Miriam Elam, born to Hans and Lily Elam, January 20, 1924, at home in rural Buena Vista County, 7 miles north of Alta, Iowa. Dr. Hernan and nurse Lena Hansen officiated. I love the word she used, the word officiated for her birth. I'm not sure what that says. Mother was near death with uric poisoning, and they had packed her, this is interesting, with half-gallon fruit jars filled with hot water and wrapped in towels to force labor. I was not due for 2 more months. After a long, hard labor, I finally arrived, and Dr. H told the nurse to concentrate on Mother, because I wouldn't live anyway with all that poisoning. I was glued. Nurse Lena refused to give up on me. She cleaned me up and made sure I was breathing. Papa took me in my little basket to the kitchen where my 3 oldest siblings were waiting. He gave them the sad news that doctors said that there was no way that I could live. Ernest, Naomi, and Wesley gathered with Papa around me and prayed earnestly for me and Mother to live. When Mother recovered enough to talk with Papa, he said, "We have a little girl, but Dr. H says that she can't live with all that poisoning. What would you like to name her?" "Oh, I want a girl named Miriam, like Moses' sister who led the people to singing." He said, "Well, let's name her Live On, Miriam, because the doctor says she can't live, but we are believing God to heal her." Well, God certainly answered that prayer. She lived and loved for almost 95 years, and she did lead the people to singing. Early life was happy for Lavon as the baby of the family on the Iowa farm. When the Great Depression hit, they lost everything, but Hansen and Lily Elam were Danish immigrants who were so thankful to be Americans, and they continued to lead their family with faith and trust in God. After graduating high school, Lavon went on to North Central Bible Institute in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and during World War II, along with many other women, together helped support the war efforts. Lavon worked as what became known as a Rosie Riveter, and Janet, your mom, was right there with her, you see, in Chehalis, Washington, Boeing plant, which is something Mom was always very proud of. In 1950, she met and married Carl Swink and moved to Eugene, Oregon, where he began Bible college while she worked as a preschool teacher to help support him through college. During the 2nd year of college, she designed and he built their first home. Amazing. In 1953, they welcomed their first daughter, Carlene, and 2.5 years later, their second daughter, Rebecca. That's me. Lavon loved being a mother and a homemaker. Her creativity knew no bounds, whether it was in the kitchen, or at the sewing machine, or home decorating, or storytelling. Anything, she could create something of beauty. Lavon and Carl pastored churches in Oregon, New Mexico, Wyoming, Nebraska, and Kansas. All of them small and struggling works. It took a lot of courage to pick up and move with 2 small girls to difficult places like Milan, New Mexico, because they felt called to plant a church there. And that happened over and over again to difficult places, little money, hardships, and yet she persevered and used every bit of her creativity to make a life for her family. She had a way of making special times out of the ordinary, creating beautiful dresses out of fabric remnants, and making delicious meals out of amounts of food that today we just toss in the garbage. When times were difficult, she somehow found a way to make life fun. I remember making mud pies and noodle soup. Now, for those of you who don't know, that's watered down mud, and you stir in some corn husks, and you got noodle soup. It's not for consumption, but it's sure a lot of imaginary fun. I remember breakfast cookouts in the desert, just to watch the sunrise. There were blanket parties. That was just sitting cross-legged on the bed before sleep, eating oranges, and just sharing stories together. Tea parties with tiny little tea sandwiches, and even putting salt on slugs just to watch them dissolve. Now, if you haven't done that, you gotta try it. It's quite She had times of discouragement, but she never let life get her down for long. In their retirement years, Carl and Lavon ministered in kids' crusades throughout Kansas and took ministry trip to Russia. They also enjoyed a trip to Denmark, where Lavon was able to locate some of her relatives in her parents' home country. Lavon was very social, and with her strong gift of hospitality, she loved to entertain. As a credentialed minister, she was a talented teacher and speaker with a thirst for knowledge and was an avid reader. Music was always an important part of her life, and her talents were often called upon for church services and special events. She had a beautiful solo voice, something for which she has passed on to 3 generations so far, and I'm sure it will be more. Lavon's grandchildren and great-grandchildren brought her a lot of joy, and she loved spending time with them. She had a zest for life and liked being stylish. Oh, she loved her bling. That's why you'll notice all of us have some sort of bling on today. She wasn't afraid to be an individual. Yeah. And loved to have fun. You just never knew what was going to come out of her mouth. Oh, yikes. But she had a great influence on multitudes of lives, and is remembered for her smile, her infectious laughter, her kind and gracious spirit, and her love for the Lord. Thank God for the miracle that happened on January 20th, 1924, that gave us love.
Something that my grandmother passed down to me. It's this Happy Sundays with the Bible. It's like an illustrated children's Bible, and she gave it to me in 2003 with this letter that I'll share with you. There is, of course, what I think is very ironically funny, is that she has this leaf, in there, and I think she passed her obsession to leaves down to me, because I'm the same. I have leaves everywhere. I love leaves, so it's kind of special. But I thought I'd read this letter, and it seems somewhat insequential or insignificant, but to me it brings out a lot of interesting and memorable aspects to Grandma. So this was in May of 2003 that she wrote this letter to give me this Bible. And so it says, "My very dear Carly, here I sit in my patio listening to all the birds. There's 5 empty chairs here. Wish I had you and or others to enjoy the beauties of this God-given day." So first of all, just this makes me think of course at that time, she's not living in the house that we would go visit them all the time when I was growing up. But I do have many wonderful memories of the times of being in their house in Kansas and Little Elbing, and dress-ups and tea parties, and I can still smell the coffee and see that little coffee cup with the apricots on the front, and it's like always the coffee cup. So I can just imagine, of course, this was the home that she was writing from in Minnesota that got to have a really special trip. I just went to see her a few years after she sent this. She and I, so just really good memories there. So, reading on. I look so forward to all of us being together in Chicago. It will be great to meet Jennifer too. So this made me think of, so that was right before Jeff and Alexia's wedding in Chicago. And the funny thing here is that, first of all, I think Jennifer still hates me and Kirsten a little bit today because of the fact that we were sharing a room, the 4 of us, Grandma, me, Kirsten, Jennifer. And Kirsten and I snuggled together in one bed, and we kind of forced Jennifer to sleep with Grandma. And this was her first meeting of Grandma. So, sorry, Jennifer, love you a lot. Anyway, so please forgive us for that. But she goes on, this very old book, and the book actually, it was published in 1908, so very cool. And she said, This very old book is a real treasure of Bible stories and pictures. I can't remember when we bought it. However, it was published when my parents were very young. I so enjoyed paging through it and seeing how the graphic art around the memory verses was so unique. Here's the great part. This is Grandma right here. I'm sure you can copy anything and not be in trouble with any copyright laws. I think I may have taken a picture for a lesson about the Day of Pentecost. It would be somewhere in the crusade stuff that is yours if you want it. So that just made me laugh because, you know, if you do look inside the book, it does say all rights reserved for the picture. So just, Grandma, sorry, not good advice there. But anyway. But no, it's very special, and you know, looking through it makes me even think of just the many years of service that they had in their children's ministry, and I think a lot of that as well inspired me in my work and the passion I have to serve students and children. So just really special. But I also just wanted to lastly read this poem that Grandma wrote, just because I think it really just demonstrates her heart for knowing and serving God. So she named it November Illuminations, Wasted Strength. How foolish of me to seek for tomorrow's strength today. That would be impossible for me to achieve. It belongs to tomorrow. So often I pick up yesterday's problems, mistakes, and failures. This makes no sense at all. It creates unnecessary load for today's activities. Jesus promised strength for my todays, so why don't I give him all of my yesterdays? Then they can never be changed except by the way I perform my service to the Lord today. Here it is with its many demands and opportunities. God grant me the wisdom to take and use the strength he has provided for this very day. Life becomes so exciting when I make that little prayer a reality. Right there in my heart and spirit, I find hope for tomorrow. Springs forth like a flash. And she wrote at the bottom, today I heard on Gateway to Joy this quote, joy is not the absence of suffering, but the presence of God. Oh, how true.
Well, Mom was extremely proud of her Danish heritage. And so today, in honor of her, since we found something that said, this song, which is on the inside of your folder, and she said, this song was sung at both of my parents' funerals. So it's been a treasure for Becky and me, because Mom used to sing this Danish lullaby to us, which we passed down to our kids. And so just join us as you can. Because the words are right there.
There is a friend. we'll start from here first. We're going to go video a little bit of Lavon.
Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? Why should my heart be lonely and long for heaven and home? When Jesus is my portion, my constant friend is He. His eyes on the sparrow. I know He watches me. His eyes on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. For His eyes on the sparrow. And I know He watches me. Let not your heart be troubled. His tender word I hear, and resting on His goodness, I lose my doubts and fears. Oh, by the path He leadeth, but once that I may see His eyes on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. His eyes on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. For His eyes on the sparrow, and I know He watches
Well, I'm the other son-in-law. Rita and I had the privilege of being one of the sons that she never had at birth, but just never spoiled us at all. But one thing I want to mention very clearly here, every time, we were together, and that she always wanted to remind Carlene and Becky, what did she say? Be good to us, take care of them. And they did it most of the time. No, once in a while. All the time. Anyway, I had the privilege of, there's a lot of friends that she had around the country that sent Facebook messages. So we thought it'd be nice just to do a few little snippets of what some of them said, if I may, please. Sharon Schnell, she was a teenager with Carlene and Becky and Mitchell in Nebraska. I'm so sorry for your loss. Your mother was an amazing Christian lady. I have wonderful memories of her families from back when your dad was our pastor, and we had our trio, and your mother taught us how to sing together and shared many, many tidbits of Christian living, being a teenager and living for God. I will never forget your mom. She was a very influential person in my Christian living as a teenager back then, and I'm forever grateful for her prayers, her thoughts, and her encouraging words. Allison Randall, a friend from Hayes, Kansas, said, "Oh, sweet Grandma Swink, what a beautiful and precious woman of God." I can hear her laughter, and I remember when we first met your parents at a youth convention. Robert Brandis Knighton, Becky's friend from high school. I'm glad your mother was still enjoying life. I remember fun times at your house. She's a fine lady and a wonderful Christian mother and wife. I know you will miss her till we meet her again. A friend of ours from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Patty Bogley, said, "Becky, Carlene, and family, I'm so sorry for your loss. I always enjoyed visiting with her when she was still in Minnesota." She's a special, lovely lady, praying for peace for all of you and joy in your memories. Sharon Swink Broxson, a niece, said, "You are blessed to have your sweet mom for so long. I think back on the Swink reunions and a lot of happy memories with her around." Ronnie Manis, a great niece, said, "So sorry and sad. Loved to Aunt Bonnie," she was known as. "She was a great influence in my faith and my life. I will keep her memories in my heart." A friend, Ruth Ann Mussetter from Minnesota, wrote, "It's interesting that almost every time I went to visit Lavon, she would ask me, quote, 'How is that man of yours?' And when I would leave, she would tell me, 'Be good to that man of yours.' She was consistent in this. I loved the way she poured her knowledge of scriptures out and the wisdom she had gained into me every time I was with her. She prayed over me and my family, and I loved her so much. I hope and pray that I can be half the blessing to those around me that she was to me." Friend of Becky and David's from Hayes, Kansas, Stacy Smith wrote, "Becky, so sorry for your loss, but grateful for the promise of eternal life. I meant to message you about this, but several weeks ago I had a dream about your mom. As the days passed, I forgot a lot about it, but it had to do something with me writing a hugely long letter to your mom, telling her how wonderful I thought she was. Pastor Dave came in and I told him. He said, 'Yes, she sure is. I wish I'd written it down and told you at the beginning while it was fresh in my mind. I woke up wondering why I had such a dream. I haven't seen your mom since you were living in Hayes, but your parents were always so gracious and kind to me. Hugs and much love.'" Margaret Lilybold wrote, a friend from Hayes, Kansas, "I'm so sorry for your loss, Becky. Your mother was always so very kind and pleasant to me. When I think of her, I remember her beautiful smile. The Lord comfort you and the rest of your family. Love to each of you. May God fill you with his comfort and peace." A couple more. Rob Munson, a great nephew. "Ever since I was little, when I saw your mom, I wanted her to sing the Alice song." And Roxy, another great niece, responded, "Me too." A friend from Minneapolis, Annika Schrenek, wrote, "Grandma Swink was one amazing woman. I'm so sad to think of her not on earth, but to know the joy of her hugging Jesus brings me comfort. I will always remember her endless faith, the prayers that never ceased to those around her, and her opinions on just how the world should be. How can we forget how she loved us all?" Dolores Swink Walker, a sister-in-law, so many sweet memories of your mom and a beautiful laugh I love you. Niece Bert Munson wrote, "My precious Aunt Bonnie, now with her Savior, how often I reminisce the beautiful, wonderful times we spent with her. She made everyone and everything special. Her God-given wisdom was far beyond reach because she loved me. So she was so dear to me, I can't help from crying due to my selfish reason of losing her, but I'm also rejoicing with the tears of her home." One last one here that was written by Phil Elam, a nephew. "Aunt Bonnie was always special to me. I still remember she used to call me on my birthday and sing happy birthday. Also, I'm told, and this is a kind of humorous story we want to have here, I'm told that Grandma Elam once tied me to a tree when I was 3 or 4, and your mom, when she was young, a single young working gal, came by, cut me loose, and took me for ice cream without telling me anything about it. I hear it was an exciting time when he discovered I was gone, as I had gone around the block originally, which is why I'd been tied to the tree in the first place. My understanding is that Grandma Elam was hot, and Bonnie was in the doghouse. I, being 3 or 4, was in 7th heaven, escaping for ice cream. I do remember her taking me in her car that had a starter on the floor and a fan in the dash of the car. Other than that, the memories of what I've been told sounds like an exciting day, however." We have one other special memory coming from Janet Claxon, her niece. Janet, if you'd like to say a few words, please.
I really haven't prepared anything, but I did.
just 20, in her 20s when I was about 5 years old. My dad was overseas, and so my mom and I lived with my grandparents and my Aunt Bonnie. So Aunt Bonnie and I were pals. We did all kinds of things together, and I think I was probably the bait for her out looking for boyfriends. But it worked out pretty good because I got ice cream and all kinds of special things. But I have two stories. The one story is years ago, and Bonnie was beautiful. She was a head turner, I'll tell you. She dressed well, her hair was all done. And back in those days, women put rats in their hair. They were kind of pillows to keep the hair looking bigger than what it was. And she had rats in her hair. So she thought it would be fun for me if she took me to the carnival. And there was a carnival in town, and there were all these amusement rides. And she knew that Grandma and Grandpa Elam would not have approved. And neither would my mother. So we kind of went secretively, and the reason we had to go secretively is because, well, the people that were in the carnival were not, they maybe weren't our caliber, so she said, explained. So we got on the octopus. It was one of those rides that twirls you as you get up and then down and then twirls and twirls. And we were having a lot of fun, and Aunt Bonnie lost all the rats. First one, and then fly out, and then another, and then fly out. And she, oh my goodness. So we made it home. We had, our lips were sealed where we had been, but I have no idea what. She told Grandma and Grandpa Elam about what happened to the rats in her hair. That's my first story as a little girl. When I was older, much older, after her mom had died, she called me and said her sister had passed away, and there was going to be a service for her sister in Storm Lake, Iowa. And I lived in Denver, Colorado, and she was in Minneapolis. And she called and she said, are you going to go to Eunice's service? And I said, well, I hadn't planned on it. And she said, well, I'd like to go, but my girls can't get away. And I just don't feel like I should go by myself. And I said, well, how far is Storm Lake from Minneapolis? Oh, it's not far. It's not far at all. It's just, well, we'd leave in the morning and be there. And I said, well, you know, I don't know, Aunt Bonnie. I don't even know who we would stay with in Storm. Who lives in Storm Lake now? Oh, we could get a motel, just you and I, and we'd share a place. And I said, oh, Aunt Bonnie, I don't think I can get away. And she said, oh, that's okay. I could drive. You know, I am legally blind. And I said, you're legally blind? And she said, yes, I'm legally blind, but I could take the back roads. I want to get there. And the back road, how far is it anyway? Oh, it's just not far at all. So I said, well, okay, Aunt Bonnie, I'll check on the airline rates and see what I can do. Make a long story short, she hooked me good. And I've never been sorry. I would have been happy to do it anyway. Anyway, she was fun when she was young, and she was fun as she got older too. Thanks. Ooh, that's a big one.
great integrity, great charisma. She loved passionately, was an adventurer, especially in the kitchen, and loved people. And she loved Jesus. Boy, did she love Jesus. The thing that strikes me the most about my talented, creative, spunky, witty, even feisty grandma was not all of these characteristics. It was her reality, the way she chose to live. As I reflected and shared with friends over the past few weeks of people who had never met her since her passing, about who my grandmother was to me, this theme kept resonating. Faith, choice. She was a woman who chose how she wanted to live. She was not a product of her upbringing or her circumstance. She was not a victim of either failure or success. No. She took hold of any given circumstance and made it her own. If she had little money for new clothes, as Auntie Becky said, she found tired pieces and made them fabulous. If the budget didn't offer extras for better cuts of meat, she celebrated the decadent option of the fatty ones. My Gigi lived like a queen, and thus we are representing her jewelry today. From my early childhood, I always understood my grandparents were extremely wealthy. It was evidenced by the way that they lived. I mean, everything was gilded, literally. And they celebrated their faith and the life God had given them with gratitude. It was never a complaint. It was never a, oh, we just have this. It was celebrated. They championed this same joy and zest for life with all who met them. There was never a dull moment with Gigi. Never. If something didn't quite taste right that she was having in a restaurant or at home, it wasn't simply overlooked or pushed to the side. There was a, ooh, yuck, yuck. Before moving on to find something that was a tastier solution. Her handmade clothes and creations, from the wardrobes of her daughters to outfitting her grandchildren and our dolls, had pizzazz and charisma. Never dull, never forgettable. Life for my Grammy was meant to be lived, savored, and celebrated. She never did a thing half-heartedly. She wrote with passion, prayed with fervor, taught with conviction, sang with gusto. She may not have always gotten it right, but what does that mean anyways? She chose life. Her choice was her reality. She lived by faith. Hebrews 11:1 explains this best. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. This is what I think of most when I think of my grandmother. So, Grammy, you know, it's good crying here. Thank you for not only teaching me and us, but modeling for me a life worth living. For living to the fullest in the everyday and the mundane. For choosing a gilded perspective. Choosing your reality. I love you forever, Grammy. Cheers, viewers.
A couple of things I wanted to say just before singing. My mom, I feel like, and so many probably do, was one in a million. I mean, really. I cannot think of anybody who was like her before her, and I think God broke the mold after her. She was a one in a million. And to kind of sort of prove this whole idea, I came across this little package. And it's my mom's handwriting in this little Ziploc bag, and it says, "My $1 million idea." Underline $1 million idea. Underline. Create a sock-like sleeve, and she has this inside of it. Okay, a sock-like sleeve to fit tightly from the elbow to the shoulder. Fasten it to the bra strap and wear with long sleeve sweaters so the flap doesn't wobble. Underline wobble. Little footnote at the side. I insist on And she made everything special and fun. Whether it was carrot curls or radish roses. I mean, you just stick them on a platter. No. You make, you create. She created every stitch of clothes I ever wore till I was 18 years old. Was my first button dress. We lived in teeny little trailers, and we lived in church basements and parsonages. That maybe people would think, that wasn't so great. I had no idea. I don't think Becky did. We had no idea we were dirt poor. Everything was special and wonderful with Mom. And she just had that zest for life. I've heard that 3 times now, but that's what I've written in my notes. And God only gives us one mother. And God, I'm so thankful that you gave me this one. Thank you, Lord. In the scriptures, in 2 Corinthians 5:8, it says, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And so, Mom, I know this is just your shell, and I'm so happy and thankful for where you are after your long, beautiful life.
Time to stop and been a lot said today of Grandma's love of God, love of Scripture, love of books. You saw that Carly was showing off the book that was given to her. And it's probably one of the gifts that Grandma enjoyed giving most. So today I actually brought one of my grandfather's Bibles. I was going to read from Psalm 91. This is the King James Version, which is difficult for most people to read, but it is what Grandma memorized this passage in. She enjoyed memorizing Scripture, not often quote. So Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust His truth. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For He shall give His angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. Because He has set His love upon me, therefore will I deliver Him. I will set Him on high, because He hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him, and I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation.
Well, we've gathered here today, and so far we've just had a great time of celebrating Lavon, Miriam, Swink. She's known to us in this room as mother, mother-in-law. She did Dave and Paul the finger. This was it, the finger. Grandma, Gigi, friend, someone that we cared so dearly and sweetly for. And some of you only know her through stories that I have told of her. And thank you for being here. To me, she's Mama. She's the one who brought me into this world and had such an influence on who I am. Although our hearts are sad today because we miss her, this is really a joyous occasion because Mom is now experiencing pure delight. What she had faith to believe all of her life has now become reality. She no longer hopes for anything because all of her hopes have been fulfilled. For over 8.5 years, I've had the privilege of having Mom live nearby and being responsible for her care. Together, we created many special memories for which I will forever treasure. Along with some of those memories, those great memories, there were also some really challenging times as she declined mentally and physically. On one such night, about 3 years ago, I was driving home from Boulder, and I was crying. I did that a lot driving home, because it was really difficult watching her decline. And I remember being so overwrought, and I cried out, "Mom, you never prepared me for this." And immediately and unexpectedly, I heard this voice in my heart, and it said, yes, she did. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High will abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge, my fortress, my God. In him will I trust. You see, when I was only about 7 years old, Mom taught and helped Carlene and I memorize the 91st Psalm. And it's been in my heart ever since, a knowing, a confidence. My help comes from the Lord. I'm forever grateful for a mother that taught me the Word of God. And interestingly, up until about the last few weeks, even in her demented state, she could quote an entire psalm if I was really remarkable. In reflection of her life, I actually see that portion of Scripture as the hallmark of her life. And in tribute today of her life, I want to focus on Lavon, the courageous. Now, for those of you who know her well, or knew her well, you might be surprised at this. Mom had a lot of fears. Anyone who ever drove with her as a passenger in the car knows. Or was with her when she thought she lost her purse. Oh my goodness, I lost my purse. Or anyone who stood on a high cliff with her. Or was with her when she saw a caterpillar. Or, well, let's just stop there, okay? But we all know the sound of, oh, 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 oh. Yeah, we know. But let's take a look at what courage really is. Mark Twain said, courage is not the lack of fear, it is acting in spite of it. Franklin Roosevelt said, courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the assessment that something is more important than fear. And Nelson Mandela said, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. And then another quote, which actually I think came from The Hobbit, but it's still pretty true. It is very true. True courage is to keep on traveling when you can't see the map. Now that really is a picture of Lavon Swink's life. Here's just some examples. She described herself as a schoolgirl being shy and insecure, and yet at the age of 17, this Iowa farm girl took off and attended Bible college in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and worked as a waitress to pay her way through school. She married Dad after only knowing him 3 months. Now that was either courage or maybe foolhardy, but it did last for 51 years plus. She bravely set out with Dad wherever they felt called, either to start a church in a desolate area or pastor churches in small towns with very little income. For a time, she even created a cozy home for a family of 4 in a 16-foot camper trailer in Milan, Mexico. Oddly, that is the first Christmas I remember, and all I remember is happiness. I don't remember lack. There were times when she literally didn't know where the food would come from for the next meal, and yet she trusted God, and He always supplied. In Rock Springs, Wyoming, she managed to create a homey environment for her family in the basement of a church for over 4.5 years. So many times, drifters would come by the church and asking for assistance. Dad would invite them in for a meal, and Mom would serve a delicious meal around our kitchen table. I wondered many times, did we entertain some really dangerous people around our table? Did we maybe entertain angels unaware? It really doesn't matter because God took care of us. She was a constant learner who diligently studied until she gained the knowledge that she needed to take on new challenges. And somehow, she overcame her insecurities and became an incredibly gifted teacher. When Dad got cancer, she faced her worst fears and supported him and cared for him in ways that most of us will never, ever know. And when he passed, she bravely moved forward to take the things that he had considered his responsibility and she really knew nothing of. And she learned it, and she created a life of interest for herself. In the past few years, many times I've been with her and see fear rise in her eyes, and she'd say, I don't know who I am or where I am. And after I would comfort her, most times she would square her shoulders, put a smile on her face, and face her very uncertain future. She certainly wasn't perfect, and sometimes she did succumb to her fears, like we all do. But I honor her for her many, many examples of courage. So we might wonder, how did she do this with all of her fears? The answer is found in Psalm 91. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High will abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge, my fortress, my God. In Him will I trust. Notice that it doesn't say who he who visits the secret place. It says he who dwells there, who lives there, who makes their home there. That person will find rest and a place to converse with the Most High God in solitude, in relationship, in friendship. This place is a secret place. It's not known to everybody, and it's not obvious or necessarily even easy to find. Many people go to church every week, and they still never know what it is to live in the secret place. God is just a concept, not a person to live with and know intimately. Mom did. She knew God intimately, and she found her dwelling place in Him. Shortly after Mom was placed in hospice care, I was visiting her with her one evening, and we were talking about death. And we were talking about how, I was probably talking more than she was, about how there really is no fear in death for those who love the Lord and who serve Him. And we quoted scriptures together, especially from John 14, as we had many times. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also. But I could see resistance in her eyes. And she said, I'm not ready to die. I have things to do. I have things to tell my family. I promised her that if she would tell me, I would pass it on. She paused and she thoughtfully said these words. And I put them in my phone right away, so I got it right. Be sure, above everything else, you know how to find and get in touch with the living God. I think in essence she was saying, know how to find the secret place. There's one thing that Mom would want everyone in this room to know, and that is how to have a relationship with God through His Son, Jesus. It's not mysterious. It's really quite simple. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. God deeply wants relationship with each of us. So much so that He gave His Son to provide a way to Him. No, it's not about being good enough, because I'm certainly not good enough, or doing the right things. It's simply about believing that Jesus is who he says he is, the Son of God, and believing that he gave his life for yours. Simple faith to believe that he made a way for each of us to be acceptable with all of our failings, to have a relationship with the living God. Psalm 91 ends with this. Because he loves me, says the Lord, I will rescue him. I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. He will call on me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I'm going to pause there. He doesn't say, I won't let you have trouble, because we all have troubles in our life. But he said, I will be with you in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. That was the promise that God gave to Mom and to all of us who will acknowledge him as our Lord. Mom made a choice in her life, in the face of all her fears and insecurities, to trust, to believe in a God who said if she would find her rest in him, he would meet her. He would have friendship with her. So many times, right up into the end, I heard Mom say, I just want to be a blessing. Her blessing for each of us today would be this: to be sure we all found our place, our home in the secret place. Let's pray. Father God, I thank you for my mother, Lavon Swink. I thank you for saving her at her birth to live a life. I thank you for bringing her into relationship with you, and that she in turn taught me and so many others how to have a relationship with the Almighty God. I thank you that you did love us, that you did send your Son so that we could know you and have a relationship with you. I pray, God, that the impact that Mom had on all of our lives will go on forever, and that we will truly know what it is to find our place and our home in you. In Jesus' name. Mom loved to sing, and she had a beautiful solo voice, and one of the favorite songs that she would sing when she was asked to come to sing at special places was The Holy City. And I think it would be very meaningful to her to know that her grandson, Jeff, would sing this as we close out today. But before we do that, thank you for the rose reminder. 5 of her 9 great-grandchildren are here today. What a blessing. And each of them have a red rose they would like to come and place on Gigi's basket to send with her. This is Milena. How Grandma loved her Gigi. Her Aiden. Adeline. And Olivia. And she has 4 others, 2 in Paris, who are Jonah and Ella, and 2 in Texas, Anaya and Kyle. Thank you, Jeff.
Last night I lay a-sleeping, there came a dream so fair. I stood beside a temple there, I heard the children sing, and ever as they sang, methought the voice of angels from heaven answering, methought the voice of angels from heaven answering. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, lift up your gates and sing, Hosanna in the highest, Hosanna to your King. And then methought my dream was changed, the streets no longer rang. Hushed were the glad hosannas, the little children sang. The sun grew dark with mystery, the morn was cold and chill, as the shadow of a cross arose upon a lonely hill, as the shadow of the cross arose upon a lonely hill. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, hark how the angels sing, Hosanna in the highest, Hosanna to your King. And once again the scene was changed, new earth there seemed to be. I saw the holy city beside the timeless sea. The light of God was on its streets, the gates were open wide, and all who would might enter, and no one was denied. No need of moon or stars by night, or sun to shine by day. It was the new Jerusalem that would not pass away. It was the new Jerusalem that would not pass away. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, hark how the angels sing, Hosanna in the highest, Hosanna forevermore. Hosanna in the highest, Hosanna forevermore. We have one more song that we'd like everybody to join in with. And it was the song that Gigi liked to sing whenever we would ask her what she'd like to sing next. And so please join along as we all sing God Bless America. And after we finish this, the family will recess to the back of our hall here, and please join us for refreshments afterwards. Fiasco, please stand.